I am the essence of power. Witness my strength.
The battle had ended. The one-star dragon lay defeated, its corrupted form dissolving into particles of red light that scattered across the battlefield. Goku stood among the ruins, his Super Saiyan 4 form slowly fading as exhaustion caught up with him. Around him, the other shadow dragons had already been destroyed, each one a manifestation of a wish gone wrong, each one a piece of guilt made flesh. "It's over," Pan said, running toward him, relief flooding her voice. But when she looked at her grandfather's face, she saw something that stopped her cold. He wasn't smiling. His eyes carried a weight she'd never seen before. Shinran descended from the sky, his massive serpentine body coiling through the air. But this time, there was no triumph in his arrival. His ancient eyes fixed on Goku with what could only be described as sorrow. "Son Goku," the dragon's voice rumbled across the wasteland. "You have done what needed to be done, but you understand what comes next, don't you?" Goku nodded slowly. "Yeah, I figured as much." "Grandpa?" Pan's voice trembled. "What's he talking about?" Goku turned to his granddaughter, and for the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. Not fear of death or defeat, but fear of goodbye. "Pan, the Dragon Balls, they've been used too many times. Every wish we made, every time we brought someone back to life, every problem we solved with them, it all created negative energy. That energy built up over decades until it created those shadow dragons." "But you beat them," Trunks interjected, landing beside Pan. "The threat's gone." "No," Shinran spoke, his voice heavy with ancient knowledge. "The threat is only contained. The negative energy still exists within the Dragon Balls. If they remain on Earth, if they continue to be used, this will happen again. And next time, the corruption might be too great to stop." Vegeta crossed his arms, his expression hard. "Then destroy the Dragon Balls." "It's not that simple," Goku said quietly. "The Dragon Balls are connected to Earth's ley lines, to the very fabric of this planet's life energy. Destroying them outright could cause catastrophic damage. And even if we could," he looked at Shinran, "tell them." The great dragon's eyes closed briefly. "The Dragon Balls are not simply artifacts. They are living extensions of my essence, pieces of my soul given form. To destroy them would be to kill me, and through me to sever Earth's connection to the cosmic dragon network that stabilizes dimensional barriers throughout Universe 7. A heavy silence fell over the group. "There's another way," Shinran continued. "The Dragon Balls must be removed from mortal reach. They must be taken to a place where they can be purified, where the negative energy can be safely dispersed over centuries, and they must be guarded by someone strong enough to ensure they are never misused again." "The Dragon Realm?" Goku said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, the place where all dragons originate, where the boundaries between dimensions are maintained. It exists outside normal space-time, accessible only through specific rituals or by dragonkind themselves." Shenron's gaze intensified. "And it requires a guardian, someone who can protect the Dragon Balls while they purify, someone who can ensure the negative energy doesn't spread to other dimensions." "How long?" Vegeta asked, his voice sharp. "How long would Kakarot need to stay there?" Shenron's silence was answer enough. "Forever," Goku said softly. "Or at least until the Dragon Balls are pure again. that could take centuries, maybe longer. No, Pan grabbed her grandfather's arm. There has to be another way. We can find someone else. We can... Pan. Goku placed his hand over hers, his touch gentle but firm. Who else could do this? Who else is strong enough to protect the Dragon Balls from anyone or anything that might want to use them? Who else has the experience with this kind of energy? Then I'll come with you, she said desperately. You can't, kiddo. The Dragon Realm, it's not meant for mortals. Just being there would be dangerous for someone who hasn't... He paused, searching for words. Someone who hasn't merged with dragon energy the way I have. Piccolo stepped forward, his face grave. When you absorbed the Dragon Balls during the final battle with the one-star dragon, you didn't just use their power. You became connected to them on a fundamental level. Yeah, I can feel it now. I can sense the Dragon Balls in a way I never could before. It's like they're part of me, or I'm part of them. I don't really understand it, but Shinran says it makes me the only one who can do this. Convenient, Vegeta muttered, but there was no real bite to his words. He understood necessity when he saw it. Chi-Chi appeared then, having finally caught up to the group. She took one look at Goku's face and froze. No. Goku, no. Not again. Not after everything. Chi-Chi. Don't you Chi-Chi me. Tears were already streaming down her face. You died saving the Earth. You stayed dead for 7 years. You left us to train Oob. And now you're telling me you have to leave again? For centuries? Goku walked to his wife, and for a moment, the legendary warrior who had saved the universe countless times looked like nothing more than a man facing the hardest decision of his life. I know I keep leaving. I know I'm a terrible husband and a worse father. His voice cracked. But if I don't do this, everything we've built, everyone we've saved, all of it could be destroyed. The negative energy could spread beyond Earth. It could corrupt other planets, other dimensions. Billions could die. Then let someone else save them, Chi-Chi sobbed. Let someone else be the hero for once. Why does it always have to be you? Because I'm the one who can. And isn't that what you've always taught Gohan and Goten? That if you have the power to help, you have the responsibility to do it? Chi-Chi's legs gave out. Goku caught her, holding her as she wept into his chest. Gohan stood apart from the group, his fists clenched. Dad, there really isn't another way? I've been searching for one ever since I absorbed the Dragon Balls. Shenron's been showing me possibilities, different futures depending on what we choose. In every timeline where I don't go, bad things happen. Really bad things. How bad? Krillin's voice was barely a whisper. Universe 7 gets erased, Goku said flatly. The negative energy becomes so concentrated that it tears holes in dimensional barriers. Those holes let in things that shouldn't exist in our reality, things that make the shadow dragons look like puppies. Eventually, it gets so bad that Xeno notices and just wipes us out. All of Universe 7 gone. The weight of those words settled over everyone like a suffocating blanket. When? Krillin's voice was barely a whisper. Now, Shenron answered. The Dragon Balls are already beginning to accumulate negative energy again. Every moment we delay increases the risk. Right now? Pan's voice broke. But we haven't had time to... I know, Pan. Goku pulled away from Chi-Chi, though it clearly took effort. He looked at each person gathered there, his family, his friends, the people he'd fought beside for decades. I know this is sudden. I know it's not fair. But when is this kind of thing ever fair? He turned to Gohan. You're the strongest now, stronger than I ever was at your age, even with all my training. Earth will be in good hands. Dad, take care of your mother and Pan and everyone. Goku smiled, but there was infinite sadness in it. And don't use the Dragon Balls no matter what happens. Promise me." Gohan's throat worked. "I promise." Goku moved to Goten next. His youngest son was trying hard not to cry. "Hey, kid. You've gotten so strong. I'm proud of you. Keep training with Trunks, okay? Keep pushing each other. That's what rivals are for." "But you're supposed to train with us," Goten managed. "I know, but you don't need me anymore. You never really did. You just thought you did." Goku ruffled his son's hair. "Besides, I'll be watching, somehow. I'll know if you start slacking off." He approached Vegeta, and for a long moment, the two rivals just looked at each other. A lifetime of competition, of pushing each other to greater heights, of mutual respect earned through countless battles. "Kakarot," Vegeta said finally, "this is the most idiotic, self-sacrificing, heroic thing you've ever done. And you've done a lot of idiotic, self-sacrificing, heroic things. Yeah, well, can't let you have all the glory, can I?" "Don't expect me to get soft in your absence. When you come back, if you come back, I'll have surpassed you so completely that you'll regret ever leaving." "I'm counting on it, Vegeta." They clasped forearms in a warrior's grip. "Keep everyone safe. You're the prince of all Saiyans. Act like it." Vegeta's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Finally, Goku knelt in front of Pan. His granddaughter's face was streaked with tears, her body trembling with the effort of holding back sobs. "Grandpa, please, please don't go." "I have to, Pan, but I need you to do something for me. I need you to be strong. Not just physically strong, you're already one of the most powerful fighters on Earth. I mean strong in here." He tapped her chest, over her heart. "The world's going to need heroes, real heroes, not just powerful fighters. And you have the heart of a true hero. I saw it when you helped me fight the Shadow Dragons. You never gave up, even when things looked impossible." "I was with you. I was strong because you were there." "No, you were strong because you are strong. I was just there to see it." He pulled her into a tight hug. "I love you, kiddo. Don't ever forget that. And don't forget, Saiyans don't give up. No matter how hard things get, no matter how impossible they seem, we keep fighting. That's who we are." Pan buried her face in his shoulder, her small frame shaking with sobs. After what felt like both an eternity and no time at all, Goku stood. He looked at Chi-Chi one last time, memorizing every detail of her face. "I'm sorry," he said simply, "for everything. For all the times I wasn't there. For all the promises I couldn't keep. I love you. I've always loved you." Chi-Chi couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears flowing freely. Goku turned to Shinran. "I'm ready." The great dragon lowered his head in what might have been respect or perhaps shared sorrow. "Then let us begin. The journey to the Dragon Realm cannot be made physically. Your body would not survive the dimensional transition. Instead, I will merge your consciousness with the Dragon Balls. Your spirit will travel with me, while your body will stay here," Goku finished. "I know. I saw it in the visions. My body will become like a statue preserved in stasis until, if I ever return." "Goku, you can't mean," Krillin started. "It's okay, Krillin. This is just who I am. This is what I was meant to do." Goku closed his eyes, centering himself. "Shenron, let's do this before I change my mind." The 7 Dragon Balls rose from where they had scattered during the battle. They formed a circle around Goku, glowing with an intense orange light. Shenron's body began to shine, his scales reflecting colors that had no names. "Son Goku," the dragon intoned, his voice resonating with power that shook the very air. "By accepting this burden, you become more than warrior. You become guardian. You become bridge between mortal and divine. You become keeper of wishes and bearer of consequences." The Dragon Ball spun faster, creating a vortex of light and energy. "Do you accept this responsibility, knowing you may never return? Do you accept this duty, knowing it may cost you everything you hold dear? Do you accept this fate, knowing it was not forced upon you, but chosen freely? Goku opened his eyes. In them burned a determination that could move mountains. I accept. Then let it be done. The light exploded outward in a column that pierced the sky. Goku's body began to glow, becoming translucent, then transparent. The Dragon Balls dissolved into pure energy, flowing into him like rivers of light. "Grandpa!" Pan screamed, reaching for him. But Goku was already fading. His form became like stained glass, beautiful and fragile. He looked at his family one last time and his lips moved, though no sound came out. But Pan could read them. "I'll come back, I promise." Then he was gone. The light faded, leaving only silence and a perfect statue where Goku had stood, his body frozen in time, one hand raised in eternal farewell, his face peaceful. Shenron's voice echoed as he too began to fade. "I will protect him. In the Dragon Realm, his spirit will be safe, and when the purification is complete, when the Dragon Balls are cleansed of all negative energy, he will return. Until then, have faith. Son Goku has never broken a promise. He will find his way home, no matter how long it takes." And then they were both gone. The Z-Fighters stood in stunned silence, staring at the statue that had been their friend, their family, their hero. Chi-Chi collapsed to her knees, her wails of grief echoing across the empty battlefield. Pan fell beside her grandmother, holding her, both of them crying. Gohan placed a hand on the statue's shoulder, his own tears falling silently. Vegeta turned away, his fists clenched, refusing to let anyone see his face. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red, and in that moment, everyone present understood the same terrible truth. Goku was gone.
Not dead. Death they could handle. Death meant the Dragon Balls could bring him back, meant there was hope for a quick return. This was different. This was a sacrifice that went beyond death, beyond life. This was a hero choosing the universe over himself, the many over the few, duty over desire. This was Goku's greatest act of heroism, and it hurt more than any battle wound could ever hurt. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months. The statue remained where Goku had left it, untouched. The Z-Fighters built a shrine around it, not out of worship, but out of love, out of remembrance. People from all over the world came to see it, to pay their respects to the man who had saved them countless times, to the hero who had given up everything so they could live. Pan visited every day. She would sit beside the statue and tell her grandfather about her training, about the world he was protecting, about how much everyone missed him. She didn't know if he could hear her, but she talked anyway. Because somewhere in a realm beyond mortal understanding, Goku's spirit had begun a journey that would transform him, a journey that would test him in ways no battle ever could, a journey that, eventually, would bring him back. But that story was only just beginning.
Goku opened his eyes. The sensation was unlike anything he'd ever experienced. Not waking up, he hadn't been asleep. Not regaining consciousness, he'd never lost it. It was more like remembering that he had eyes, that he existed, that perception was something he could do. For a moment, he wondered if he was dead. But death, he knew death. He'd died twice before, and both times there had been a clear transition, leaving his body, traveling Snake Way, meeting King Yema. This was nothing like that. This was something else entirely. The first thing that struck him was the wrongness of everything. Not wrong in a threatening way, but wrong in an impossible way, like looking at a painting by an artist who'd never experienced reality and was working purely from mathematical equations and fever dreams. The sky above him wasn't blue, it wasn't any single color he could name. It shifted and flowed like liquid, cycling through shades that existed somewhere between purple and gold, between crimson and emerald, between colors that had names and colors that shouldn't exist at all. His eyes, did he even have eyes anymore? Could perceive these impossible hues, could track their movements and transformations. The shifts weren't random, they pulsed in rhythm with something, a cosmic heartbeat that he could feel resonating in whatever passed for his chest. Mountains floated in that kaleidoscope sky, not hovering with anti-gravity technology, not suspended by any visible force. They simply existed there, as if the concept of up and down were polite suggestions rather than absolute laws. Some mountains were inverted, their peaks pointing toward nothing, defying every instinct Goku had about how reality should work. Waterfalls flowed from their bases upward into clouds that burned with cold fire, droplets rising against gravity's pull like they'd forgotten which way they were supposed to fall. Other mountains rotated slowly on invisible axes, their surfaces covered in crystalline structures that caught the strange light and sang. Not metaphorically sang, they actually produced sounds, pure tones that resonated through dimensions Goku couldn't see but could somehow feel. Rivers carved through the air itself, liquid pathways that had no business existing but flowed anyway, creating spirals and loops and impossible geometries that made Goku's head hurt when he tried to follow them. The water, if it was water, wasn't transparent. It glowed from within, each drop containing what looked like entire galaxies. Stars were born and died in the span of a ripple, entire histories compressed into single waves that rolled through the air like cosmic memories made liquid. The ground beneath him felt solid, but when Goku looked down, and looking down itself was a strange concept here, where direction seemed more like suggestion than law, he saw he was standing on something that resembled crystallized starlight. It was hard enough to support him, yet it emanated a soft luminescence that made shadows fall in 3 different directions at once. Cracks in the surface revealed depths that went down forever, or maybe up or maybe sideways, into dimensions his mortal-trained mind couldn't quite comprehend. And everywhere, absolutely everywhere, there were dragons. Small ones, barely the size of his fist, darted through the air like hummingbirds made of living gemstones. Their scales reflected light in prismatic patterns that left trails of color in their wake, not trails that faded, but trails that lingered, building up into complex weavings of light that formed 3-dimensional tapestries in the air. They moved in flocks, hundreds of them, creating living rainbows that wove through the floating mountains and impossible rivers. Each wing beat produced a tiny thunderclap, miniature sonic booms that somehow sounded like wind chimes made of crystal and starlight. Medium dragons, though medium was relative when some were still as large as Earth's skyscrapers, lounged on floating islands, their massive forms draped across crystalline surfaces like cats basking in impossible sunlight. Some were grooming each other, delicate claws removing what appeared to be crystallized energy from between scales. Others slept, their breathing creating rhythmic pulses of power that rippled through the air like heat waves, visible distortions that warped space around them. And in the distance, massive dragons flew, creatures so large that calling them big was like calling the ocean wet. They were beyond size, beyond scale, moving continents made flesh and scale and ancient power. One passed overhead, so far away it looked like a moving mountain range, yet close enough that Goku could feel the displacement of air, or whatever passed for air here, as its wings beat.
Each flap created storms, actual weather systems born from pure movement. Lightning crackled along its spine, thunder rolled from its throat, even though it hadn't roared. The temperature dropped 50 degrees as its shadow passed, then climbed back up as its tail swept by. The dragons came in forms that defied categorization. Some had 6 wings arranged in impossible configurations. Others had none at all and flew through pure will, their bodies surrounded by auras of condensed power that burned with cold fire. Some were serpentine like Shinran, hundreds of meters long, coiling through the air in elegant spirals that left trails of light marking their passage. Others had 4 legs and looked like the Western dragons from Earth's mythology, massive and reptilian, with horns and crests and faces that held expressions of intelligence older than civilizations. But there were others, dragons that shouldn't exist, that couldn't exist, yet did anyway. Dragons made of living crystal that reflected infinite versions of themselves, each reflection showing the dragon in a different time, a different possibility. Dragons composed of pure energy, their forms flickering between states of matter, solid, liquid, gas, plasma, and states that didn't have names in any language. Dragons whose bodies were partially transparent, revealing clockwork mechanisms inside, made of gears that looked like compressed galaxies, spinning and meshing with mathematical precision. Dragons with multiple heads, each one expressing a different emotion: rage, joy, sorrow, curiosity, all at once, creating a chorus of feelings that radiated outward like emotional shockwaves. Dragons that existed in multiple places simultaneously, their forms overlapping and diverging in ways that made Goku's eyes water when he tried to follow their movements. But what struck Goku most wasn't their appearance or their impossible existence, it was their ki. Every dragon radiated energy, but it wasn't like any ki he'd ever sensed before. It was purer, more fundamental, like they were made of the raw stuff that ki came from, the base material of power, before it was refined and shaped and given purpose. Each signature was distinct, unique, telling a story that stretched back beyond memory. Some felt warm like sunrise, others cold like the space between stars. Some were aggressive, burning with barely contained fury, others peaceful as still water. But all of them, every single one, felt ancient. Not old, but ancient, carrying the weight of eons in their energy signatures. And they were all looking at him. Goku became suddenly, acutely aware that he was the center of attention. Hundreds of dragons had stopped what they were doing to stare at this strange presence in their realm. The small ones darted closer, circling him at a cautious distance, like curious birds examining something that had fallen into their territory. Their tiny eyes, each one containing depths that suggested intelligence beyond their size, reflected confusion and curiosity. The medium ones lifted their massive heads from their rest, nostrils flaring as they tried to identify his scent. Scent! Even some of the truly massive ones in the distance had changed course, slowly making their way toward his location. Goku looked down at himself and felt another jolt of disorientation. His body, if it was still his body, if body even meant anything here, looked different. He wasn't solid anymore, not in the way he understood solidity. He was present, substantial enough to see and feel, but also somehow made of light and energy rather than flesh and bone. When he held up his hand, he could see through it slightly, could see the crystallized starlight ground beneath, but he could also see the structure of his hand, could see energy flowing through pathways that looked like ki channels, but weren't quite. His gi was still there, orange and blue as always, but it rippled with colors that matched the sky, as if the fabric was slowly being integrated into this place.
Remarkable, isn't it? Goku spun around, the movement feeling both too fast and too slow at once. Shenron floated behind him, but like everything else in this impossible place, he looked different. Larger somehow, though not in physical size. He was more present, more real, as if on Earth he'd been a shadow of himself, and only here did he exist in full definition. His scales gleamed with an inner light that Goku had never noticed before, each one containing what looked like entire star systems. His eyes held depths that suggested intelligence far beyond what Goku had assumed, wisdom that made the ancient dragon seem almost like a different being entirely. "Shenron," Goku said, and was startled by his own voice. It echoed strangely, carrying further than it should, rebounding off the floating mountains and impossible rivers. "What is this place? Where are we?" "Welcome, Goku," Shenron said, his voice filled with something that might be pride, or perhaps reverence, or maybe both, layered together. "Welcome to the Dragon Realm. This is where all dragons are born, where all return when their time in the mortal worlds ends, and where the balance of universal energy is maintained." The name hung in the air between them, carrying weight that made the space around them tremble slightly. Goku looked around again, trying to process the scope of what he was seeing. You mentioned it back on Earth, but I didn't think it would be like..." He trailed off, unable to find words adequate to describe what he was experiencing. "Like this?" Shenron finished, a hint of amusement in his ancient voice. "Few mortals have ever seen this place, Goku. The dimensional barriers that separate the Dragon Realm from the mortal worlds are nearly impenetrable. To cross them requires either dragonkind's natural ability to traverse dimensions or dragon essence within a mortal form." "Is that why I feel so weird?" Goku asked, flexing his hands again and watching the trails of light they left. "Like I'm not quite solid? Like I'm here but also not entirely here?" "You're not solid, not in the way you were on Earth," Shenron confirmed, moving closer. "Your physical body remains in the mortal world, preserved in stasis, frozen in time at the moment of transition. What's here is your consciousness, your spirit, your essential self. But that self has been merged with the essence of the Dragon Balls, transformed by that union into something that can exist in this realm." Goku was quiet for a moment, processing this. "So I'm like a ghost?" "No. Ghosts are echoes of the dead, impressions left on reality. You are very much alive. You're just alive in a different way now. Your consciousness has been unshackled from physical limitations, allowed to perceive and interact with reality on a more fundamental level. You're more than you were. The transformation has already begun." "Transformation?" Goku's attention snapped fully to Shenron. "What kind of transformation?"
"Tell me, Goku," Shenron said, his voice taking on a teaching quality. "Do you know why you were able to defeat the Shadow Dragons when no one else could?" Goku thought about it. "Well, I'm pretty strong, and I've trained with a lot of different masters over the years." "No," Shenron interrupted gently. "That's not why. Your strength is impressive, yes, but Vegeta is strong. Gohan is strong. Your granddaughter is strong. Any of them could have fought the Shadow Dragons with equivalent power, and they would have lost. Do you know why?" Goku shook his head. "Because you carry something no mortal has possessed in 10,000 years. Dragon essence." The words resonated through the Dragon Realm, causing nearby dragons to pause and turn their attention fully toward the conversation. Even the massive ones in the distance seemed to slow their flight. "Dragon essence?" Goku repeated. "When you absorbed the Dragon Balls during your battle with the one-star dragon, when you merged with their energy instead of simply using it as a tool, something unprecedented happened.
The Dragon Balls are pieces of my essence, Goku, fragments of my soul given form and purpose. When a mortal uses them, they're borrowing power, accessing something external to themselves. But you didn't borrow. You integrated. You accepted the Dragon Balls on a fundamental level, merged with them so completely that the boundaries dissolved. In doing so, you became something more than Saiyan. Shenron began to circle Goku slowly. You can feel it, can't you? The connection to this place, to all dragons, to the fundamental energies that flow through reality. Goku closed his eyes and concentrated. Shenron was right. He could feel it, a vast network of connections spreading out from him in all directions. Every dragon in this realm was like a node in an infinite web, and somehow he was now part of that web. He could sense their emotions, their thoughts not as words but impressions, their very existence humming in the back of his mind. This is incredible, Goku breathed. And it is why, Shenron continued, I chose you above all others. You were chosen, Goku, selected to become a candidate. A candidate for what? One of the massive dragons suddenly appeared much closer, having moved without seeming to travel the distance. It was covered in scales that looked like flowing mercury, liquid metal that never stopped moving. Its eyes were molten gold, burning with intelligence that made Goku feel like an infant. The Dragon King, it said, its voice resonating through dimensions. He speaks of becoming the Dragon King. Another dragon materialized, this one covered in scales like weathered stone, with moss and crystals growing from its hide. The guardian of all dragons, the maintainer of balance, the bridge between mortal and eternal. A third dragon appeared, wreathed in blue flames. The position has been vacant for 3 years. Reality itself is beginning to fray. Shenron raised his head. Every 10,000 years, when the current Dragon King ascends to a higher plane, a new king must be chosen. 3 years ago, Aurelius the Golden completed his tenure. Since then, the position has been empty, and in that vacancy, cracks have appeared.
The Shadow Dragons, Goku said, understanding dawning. Precisely. Had a Dragon King been present, the negative energy would have been detected and purified decades before it reached crisis levels. But in the absence of a guardian, Shenron trailed off. The mercury-scaled dragon moved closer. I am Argentum, guardian of the Silver Peaks. If you are to become Dragon King, you must first prove yourself worthy through the 7 trials. 7 trials? Goku asked. Tests of strength, wisdom, endurance, compassion, judgment, unity, and sacrifice, the stone dragon grumbled. I am Terak, the Eternal Mountain. 12 candidates have attempted these trials in the last 50,000 years. Only 1 succeeded. And if I fail? Your consciousness dissolves into the dragon realm. You cease to exist as an individual across all timelines and dimensions, as if you had never been. Goku was quiet, processing this. Total obliteration if he failed. But if he succeeded, he could protect everyone, not just Earth, but all universes, all dimensions. How could he refuse that? When do we start? He asked. The dragons reacted with visible surprise. A smaller blue dragon swooped down, performing a barrel roll. He didn't even hesitate. I like this one already. I'm Azura, by the way, guardian of the endless ocean. You face potential complete erasure, and you ask when you can begin? Terak sounded genuinely taken aback. Well, yeah, Goku said. It sounds really hard, but that just makes it more interesting. Besides, if I succeed, I'll be able to protect everyone, everywhere. How could I say no to that? Argentum's scales rippled. The mortal speaks with the heart of a dragon.
Perhaps Shenron's choice was not misguided. Shenron's expression became formal. You cannot begin the trials unprepared. You must learn to truly use your dragon essence, to perceive dimensions, to fight in ways that transcend physical combat. You will train until the eternal dawn, when the dragon realm judges you ready. How long is that? Goku asked. Time moves differently here, Argentum explained. What feels like hours might be moments in the mortal world, or it might be years. The eternal dawn comes when you are ready, not before. Then we'd better not waste time, Goku said. Teach me everything. And so the training began. Azura taught him the basics first. Forget everything you know about having a body, she said cheerfully. Form is optional here. Watch. She shifted through a dozen different shapes in seconds, then snapped back. You appear as you choose to appear. Right now, you look like Goku because that's your identity. She showed him movement next. Dragons don't fly by pushing against air. We exist in multiple points simultaneously and choose which to emphasize. Pick a location and decide you're there. Goku focused on a distant mountain covered in crystal trees. He stopped thinking about distance and just decided he wanted to be there. Reality shifted, and suddenly he was standing on the mountain. I did it! First try, Azura exclaimed, appearing beside him. Most candidates take hours to manage a tiny hop. You just crossed half a continent. Argentum took over next, teaching him to see deeper. Close your eyes. Reach out with your dragon essence. Goku concentrated, and suddenly he could perceive reality on multiple levels simultaneously. Dragons appeared as patterns of energy and connection. The dragon realm revealed itself as an infinite web holding reality together, maintaining cosmic order. This is what you see all the time? Goku asked in awe. Yes, Argentum confirmed, and you must learn to see this way constantly. The Dragon King must perceive threats before they become catastrophic.
The intensity intensified. Ignis, a dragon of eternal flame, taught him combat. Fight with will, not force. The flame dragon attacked across multiple dimensions, forcing Goku to defend with pure intention rather than physical movement. Terak taught him endurance, bombarding his consciousness with millions of years of memories, forcing him to maintain his identity under pressure that would shatter most minds. Aquaria, made of living water, taught him adaptation and flow. Umbra, the shadow dragon, taught him about voids and spaces between spaces. Kronos taught him to perceive time as a dimension rather than an absolute. Zephyr taught him about invisible forces that shape reality. Dozens of dragons contributed their wisdom, each one pushing Goku past limits he didn't know he had. Days passed, or weeks, or years. Time had no meaning here. But he was learning, growing, evolving. His consciousness expanded, his control over dragon essence became refined. He learned to breathe with the dragon realm itself, maintaining that fundamental rhythm even during combat. He sparred with dragons until he could fight using will instead of ki, attack across dimensions, perceive strikes before they manifested. He meditated until his consciousness became unbreakable. He practiced until dimensional navigation became second nature. And gradually, he became part of their community. Azura became a true friend, racing him through impossible landscapes between lessons. Argentum began showing rare approval. Terak shared quiet wisdom. Even fierce Ignis revealed a playful side, telling stories of pranks played across eons. Goku was transforming, adding dragon aspects to his Saiyan foundation without losing who he was. He was becoming something unprecedented, a bridge between mortal and eternal, warrior and guardian, Saiyan and dragon. Then everything changed. The color-shifting sky suddenly locked into place, becoming brilliant gold. The floating mountains began to hum with resonance that vibrated through dimensions. Rivers of creation energy flowed faster, blazing brighter. Every dragon in the realm stopped and turned toward the center, where light was building. "What's happening?" Goku asked, though he already knew. Shinran materialized beside him. "The eternal dawn. The dragon realm has judged you ready. The trials begin now." Goku looked at the assembled dragons one final time. Azura's excited worry, Argentum's approval, Terrak's quiet confidence, Ignis's fierce expectation. All the friends he'd made, all the teachers who'd helped him grow. He thought about his family on Earth, Pan's tears, Chi-Chi's devastation, Gohan's promise, the world he was protecting. And he thought about himself, Son Goku, who'd never backed down from a challenge, who'd faced impossible odds his entire life. "Yeah," he said steadily, "I'm ready. Let's do this." The golden light exploded outward, consuming everything. Mountains sang in harmony, rivers blazed, the sky became pure gold. Every dragon raised their voices in a chorus that transcended sound. Shenron's voice rang out formal and ancient. "Son Goku, candidate for Dragon King, you stand at the threshold. Beyond lies transformation or dissolution. Do you accept the challenge, knowing failure means absolute erasure?" Goku didn't hesitate. "I accept." The light intensified until it was all that existed. The last thing he heard was Azura's voice. "Good luck, Goku! Come back to us!" Then the eternal dawn swallowed him whole, and the trials began.